uncle was in church, and he worked extremely hard, man. He was a pipe fitter. He traveled all over the country, just out there chasing the shutdown so we could have nice things. You know, we had the nice trucks and the nice cars and stuff. He was gone all the time. And my dad, he was a Marine too, so you're not getting you're not getting a whole lot of emotional support from a Marine growing up. It's like, hey, tough it up, right? Anyways, you know, we lived in a small house. I knew things wasn't always good because, hey, we lived in a small house. My parents' bedroom and mine were just a little wall apart. I went to public school most of my life, and I was never a good student. Never. I hated school. I hated school. And after my first year of first grade, my teacher said, he made the grades to pass, he just ain't mature enough to move up. So my parents held me back. And South Mississippi in the 90s, corporal punishment was a thing. And I got a paddling at least twice a month from kindergarten to 5th grade. In 5th grade, I got kicked out of school. My parents put me in Hope Academy, which was a Baptist school over in D'Iberville that washed away after Katrina. But now I'm at my two least favorite things in the world, school and church, and I hated it. I hated it. But at this school, all the kids that went there, 99% of them done got kicked out of D'Iberville or St. Martin. So these were my people. We went behind the church and we'd smoke and we'd dip and, you know, whatever we wanted to do. And we didn't vape, but there wasn't vapes back then. That's the only thing we didn't do. Man, I was about 12 years old, man, and my Uncle CJ lived through a trail through the woods, and he'd get drunk and pass out. And we'd go, me and my cousin, we'd go over there, and we'd steal his beer and cigarettes when he'd pass out. And we did that. That went on a lot. Then winter comes around and it gets dark at 5 o'clock. I'm scared to go through the trail or the woods by myself, you know. So my neighbor always worked on RX-7s. He smoked weed and he got drunk and worked on RX-7s. Everybody that knows me knows I love cars. So I was already hanging out with him. I was like, hey Eric, why don't you give me one of them Busch Lights? He's like, yeah, okay. Well, he'd give me a couple beers and I would go over there about every day and he'd be like, you ain't been in my house. I don't need Daryl over here killing me. You know, everybody was scared of my dad in my neighborhood. Anyways. Now I'm getting a little bit older. I got connections to get liquor now, and a little store down the road sell me beer and everything. And I'm about 15, and me and my buddies camping in the woods behind the neighborhood, by the big pond, the lake back there. And my dad catches me. He comes back there about 11:30 that night, and oh man, we can't see nothing. And I hear a voice. Hey, y'all boys, pour them beers out. And he said, Dwayne, we're gonna talk about this in the morning. And I'm like, man, this is my last day on earth. Well, I didn't want to go home, right? And the next morning, I go home, and he don't say a word about it. I definitely ain't bringing it up. So a couple days goes by. We're going down the road. I don't remember where we're going, but he said, I thought about tearing you up, but you're getting too old for whipping. And I was like, yeah, that's awesome. And he says, I'm hurt and I'm disappointed. Well, after hearing that, I would have rather had a whipping, you know. And, well, that hurt. So it only sticks with me for a week or two, and I'm back doing everything else. My dad goes out of town, back to work. And I talked to my mom, and let me go work for my uncle that has a little construction company building houses. I was like, hey, I'm going to Job Corps when I turn 16 anyways, let me go work for him. So she does it. And my uncle sends these two guys, old men, that work for him to pick me up. Loved them. I'll never forget Tommy. And I'll never forget Tommy. He's like, let's get some beer on the way to work. And get some beer on the way. I'm 15. I'm like, these old men are cool. And anyways, I turn 16. I get in Job Corps, and in my GED class, there's a girl. I recognize her, and I'm like, hey, I know you. I've seen you before. And she's like, I was like, you go to First Pentecostal, what the name of this church used to be. And she's like, yeah. She's like, you should come. So I started going, and I went to the Wave youth group every Wednesday night. I loved it, but I was still partying, still drinking, all that good stuff. Then, man, it goes on for a year or so. I'm still partying, still drinking, still coming to church though. And then, I don't know, I'm about 19, I'm working at Ingalls. I'm 19, I'm pipe welder at Ingalls. I'm making good money. I got a couple four-wheelers, got a car. I'm coming to church. And November 4th, 2004 comes around. My grandpa dies. Man, he was sick for years, but still, man, when it's your hero, it hurts. Then, we have his funeral. Then all the kids that I was expecting, that I hung out with at the youth group, we went on the trips together. I was expecting them to show up. None of them showed up. 2 people from the youth group showed up, and they weren't even kids I associated with. I was like, well, I don't need them no more, right? And so I went back to partying and all that stuff, where I quit, And I turned 21, and I'm like, I want to be a truck driver. I don't want to work at shipyards no more. Well, I go to truck driving school in Missouri, but I have a girlfriend in Gulfport. Well, I truck drive for about 6 months, and I just want to be in Gulfport. Every time I came home, I didn't even tell my parents I was home. I was over with her, So she talks me into quitting, and I move in with her, and she has a little girl that's almost 2. And man, we were dysfunctional. We fought like we were living in Gaston Point, and the people that called the police on us were fighting. the people laughing know Gaston Point. Okay. And it was bad. Well, and we ended up getting married. We have a daughter. We have a little girl together, and January 2008. And then we go get married. That was going to fix our problems. But so I'm working at Ingalls, and I ended up losing my job for when we got married. I took off a couple days. Well, I didn't have a doctor's excuse for the days I took off when I got married, so they fired me. And man, y'all remember the housing crash, and there was just no really work going on around here, so I got to go back to truck driving. And I go back to truck driving, and things are doing good. I got a job with one of the best truck driving companies there was at the time, and which is crazy because their requirements were 25 and 3 years driving experience. I was 24 with about maybe a year and a half, 2 years. But the guy said, hey, we like you. You did good in the interview, so come to work. Well, I'm out driving, and she needed a lot of attention, and well, I guess she thought it was fun to have a boyfriend and a husband while I was gone. And that pretty much crushed my world. We get divorced, and she marries a guy in the military, and she takes these 2 little girls, my little girls, and moves to North Carolina with them. And just things were hard. You know, I went and got me some beer. You know, 1 or 2 beers to help me fall asleep. I didn't eat, I didn't sleep. So a couple beers helped me go to sleep. Then it was 5 or 6. Then it was about an 18-pack a day for about 3 or 4 years. And, but I got my daughters in the summer and Christmas, and when I had them, I was like, well, I'll bring them to church. My mom was like, you gotta make sure you bring them girls to church. So I brought the girls to church, and I started coming to church more, and life was getting better. And, you know, I quit drinking and everything, and I was like, okay, God, hey, you made my life better, thanks. I'm gonna go do everything on my own again. And I meet my second wife, and now she was actually a decent woman. Everything from the first marriage, I carried over. I had trust issues and just all kinds of stuff. I didn't let her get close to me. She asked for a divorce in 2017, and I go back to doing everything I used to do. But this time I'm working out of town as a pipe fitter, you know, traveling the country, and man, we're working long hours. We're partying even longer, and man, this goes on, and I'm like, how are all these people partying so hard and still getting to go to work? Then I realized, they're like, hey, you want some Coke? This will help you go to work. And it did. And this went on for a couple years, and 2019, I got introduced to meth. And man, just in 2019, I got introduced to meth, and man, I got a job at Plant Daniels over here in Moss Point, and man, everything seemed to be going good. You know, I was going to work every day. I still went to sleep like 2-3 hours a night and got up, went to work, and as soon as I got my direct deposit, I was going to whatever casino I had free play at. And that went on until October 2020, I failed a drug test at Plant Daniels. And that's when things started going really bad for me. Before that, I functioned. After I failed that drug test, I wasn't functioning no more. I stayed high. I was pawning my tools so I could go gamble. I lived to go gamble for some reason. And this is about November 2020 comes around, and I go talk to Brother Jonathan, and I talk to Pastor Kraft. I tell him I'm going to go to a job in Maine, and I got to get away from the coast. Everything here is just bad. I got to go. And I get there, and I see a buddy of mine I ain't talked to. We worked together in Lake Charles. I ain't seen him in a year and a half. Well, he's in Maine. And I was like, man, I'm going to try to stay away from him. Well, I stayed away from him for about 3 days. Then he's like, Ferg. I'm like, oh, God. Well, I hung out with him. I was like, I'll go hang out with him once or twice, and nothing's going to happen. I'm up here to do right. Well, I wasn't hanging out with him for an hour, and we would get high. Anyways, man, that went on. That job was over in March. I come back home. I don't have a job. Being awake 5 and 6 days is normal now. I don't have any more tools because I've done pawned them all. A friend calls me and wants to know if I want to ride to Florida to pick up a car with her. And so I've been awake for like 8 days, and I've done lost control of my thoughts. And for some reason, we start arguing, Tallahassee, and we argue and fight the whole way back. And I thought I was having a heart attack after fighting that long. But I go check myself in the hospital, and they said I have an anxiety attack and all this. And pretty much everybody knows I'm on drugs. I tell my parents I want to go to rehab. I go to Crossroads. I go to Stevens Center. Nobody's got a bed. And I filled out all the paperwork, and I go home, and I just decide I'm not going to do drugs anymore. I crawl in bed, and I sleep for 2 weeks. I get up to eat and use the bathroom, and that's it. There's a revival going on. And so I get up, and I take myself to church on a Monday night. Then they said they was having Bible study on Tuesday night, so I came to Bible study on Tuesday night. I went to church on Wednesday night. I can't remember who it was, but somebody said, we're having a prayer meeting on Friday night. So I was like, I'll be there. I walk in, and I walk to the front of the sanctuary, and I go to the second row, and I just sit down. I put my face in this. Put my face in the seat, and I beg God to forgive me. I've repented 1,000 times in my life. I've been in and out of church my whole life. And this time I heard God say, I forgive you. April 2025 made 4 years I haven't gambled or done meth. I thank God for that. He loved me to take those things away from me. I searched the whole world to fill the void, and nothing worked except Him. In July 2024, I asked Pastor Kraft if we could get a Celebrate Recovery group here. Even though I was clean before I started doing Celebrate Recovery, things wasn't completely right. I was delivered from the addictions, but I did not put in the work it takes to heal from my past. I started this journey. I started working the principles and steps. I'm doing the work. I'm writing letters to people that I never want to forgive or never wanted to forgive. I'm putting painful memories on paper. John 21 tells us a story about the disciples fishing, and they fished all night, but they caught nothing. Then God tells them to cast on the side of the boat. They cast. They brought the fish in. God could have just said, put the fish in the boat, but He made them do a little bit of work. They trusted in Him, and they. We got to put effort in. We got to admit to God. We got to admit to ourselves and someone we trust. James 5:16 says, therefore confess your sins to each other, pray for each other, so that you may be healed. The prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective. Recovery's got a name, and Jesus is recovery. We got to do this one day at a time. I had to make choices. I had to quit hanging out with people. I had to make hard choices. The Bible says that He'll restore the years that the locust. Y'all know that verse. Oh, man. Don't give up on this journey. We're all children of God. And y'all know I love every one of y'all. and I'm so thankful for this group. And I don't know y'all yet, but I love y'all. Thank y'all for listening to me.